It's a brand new month here, May 2025 here. We have the brand new real estate numbers here for the area in Aurora, Illinois. Just giving you some information about what's happening in the market. Has inventory gone up? Has it gone down? Has buyer demand gone up or down, right? And what is the status of the market? Is it still a seller's market? Is it a buyer's market? And we're going to talk about the real estate numbers here with a little bit of context as well, as far as the 5-year, the 10 years goes, to give you an understanding of how the real estate market is doing here. If you like this kind of content, that you want to get information about real estate here, obviously subscribe to the channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. You know the deal. All right, so without further ado, let's get into the real estate numbers here in Aurora, Illinois. Now, mind you, this is the criteria that I have here for this one. These kind of properties are not going to be just all in general in the whole area. I wanted to niche down and really focus on those properties that are targeting a specific buyer here in the area, because we understand that not every single property that goes in the market is for one specific buyer. They have a specific criteria they're looking in, and they're looking at a specific type of home. So in this criteria here for the video, what I have is this. I have properties that will max out at $334,000. So anything $334,000 and below are gonna be in the statistics, as well as only single family detached houses. That is no townhomes, no condominiums, none of that. It's gonna be just single family for one family, right? Detached, right, in one single unit, okay? And on top of that too, we're not gonna focus on new construction. We're going to focus on resale homes. That's homes that go on the market that have been owned before and are going to be sold. And this is a traditional seller. It's not a real estate owned sale. It's not a short sale. It's going to be just traditional. Okay, so that's the kind of home that we're looking at. And as far as the space in the home, it's just going to be the standard typical one, which is going to be all square footage at all types. Okay, so that's the kind of information that we have going on here for this kind of information, because this is a market. This is a specific type of market. Remember, not every single buyer is looking for all these properties. There's a market for the 250K or less home. Then there's a market for the, let's say, $300 to $400 to $500 home. There's a market for 700,000 up to $1 million. You know what I mean? So there's different kinds of markets out there. And right now, what I'm focusing on in this particular video are those homes that might appeal to a family that's looking in that price range, or it could be for an investor looking to buy a rental to rent out long term, or someone that's looking to purchase a property to flip it and make a profit, right? So that's the kind of homes that I'm zeroing in here and niching down so that you can understand what's happening in the real estate market, okay? So with that said, let me go ahead and get started here. 3 big questions we always ask as far as how's the real estate market going, and that is this again: how many homes, or how's inventory, right? How's inventory? How is it? How's the house inventory, right? Number 2 is what's the buyer demand looking like, and what? Number 3 is the prices of homes. Have they gone up? Have they gone down? Really, that's the main thing that when people ask, what's the real estate market looking like? You could see that, all right? As far as you can see as well, my hair is kind of out of the place, but it's okay. We're gonna be just fine, okay? So let's answer the first question. Look, how's the inventory? Is the inventory improving? Is it not improving? Is it going up? Is it going down? Let's answer that question in the area here in Aurora. All right, so homes for sale. How are we looking like? Well, already you could tell that the numbers are not looking that great. Now, before we start going any further, I wanna kind of define the rolling and the actual, right, or the monthly data points. The rolling takes into account the previous 11 months and it averages them down month by month to give it a kind of a smooth edge and give you an understanding of, what it really, kind of looks like. The jagged edge or the shark teeth are the monthly raw data points, and this is what it will look like right here. You can just tap right there. There it is. You see the difference? So that's the monthly raw data points, and that's the rolling 12 months. That takes into account the previous 11 months, and they kind of average it into the month of, let's say, for example, in this case, April. Even though we're in May now, we're taking data from April, okay? So I'm going to look at the more raw data here, okay? So kind of give us an idea of what it looks like. Now, this here is not 12 months. It's really a total of 3 years of context here, okay? So where are we as far as homes for sale? Have we gone up? Have we gone down? Well, in the last 3 years, we are still at 3-year lows when it comes to homes in this particular niche, in this particular market of homes that are $334,000 or less here in the Aurora area, okay? That's just the way it looks. Now, you say, well, it's looking low in the last 3 years. Yes, it has. But it is actually at, well, it says here, let's see, 18 homes for sale in the whole month of March. And that is pretty accurate. When I run the search every single day in this particular niche, in this particular price point, it is accurate. Every single day I see anywhere from 18 to 21 homes, give or take here and there. So that's what we do see, and that's what we ended up indeed seeing for the month of April. Okay, you say, well, that's weird. Only 18 homes for sale? Indeed, yes. I know that I'm used to just saying, hey, the whole general number, and of course that can mean many more other homes outside of our niche down market are for sale. Of course, that is the case. But here in this niche down of 334 or less, we only had 18 properties for sale. So as opposed to March, we were averaging around 13. So have we gone up month to month? Yes, we increased by 5 houses. And then as far as year to year, last year in April 2024, surprisingly or not, we also had 18 homes for sale in this particular niche. So have we improved? Have we gone up? Have we gone down? In this particular market, in this particular niche down, we have not gone up or down. We have stayed steady. We have stayed steady. You say, well, okay, talk to me about this spike right here. What's going on with that one? Well, this happened in October of 2024, where we did see a peak of inventory in this particular niche of 47. You say, well, okay, then is it that we see increases every single October? When does it peak and when does it go down? Because sometimes people have the idea that, oh, because it's springtime, that's when we have the most amount of homes and the most amount of buyers out there. And yes, activity does pick up here in the springtime, but let's kind of look at the information. Let's look at the statistics and let the data tell us when we will see a peak in inventory throughout the year, okay? So right here, we already see October, we hit a peak in 2024. Well, in 2023, when did we see a peak of inventory? It happened again in October. So when someone asks, hey, when are we going to see the peak in inventory? The answer is actually in the fall. In the fall is when we're going to see most inventory, because again, looking at 2024, 2023, and heck, I'll even take it to 2022, we did have a peak then, not in October, but actually in August, which is late summer going into fall, right? Where we had 79 homes, and then September we had 80 homes for sale at that time, okay? So that's what we have as far as inventory goes. Now, I could go back 5 years and kind of go into this. It's just that now we're gonna hit the times of the pandemic, and that might, skew the numbers a little bit. Let's just take a look here. The last 5 years, with the niche of these homes of 334 or less, single-family detached homes in the Aurora area, we do see a peak again. We're thinking it's late summer to early autumn, right? When we see the peak. And what do we see here? This is a peak, August 2022. Another peak in 2021 happened in August. You see that? 108 homes, right? And in 2020, another peak we hit in 2020. It would have been October of 101 homes, but remember that there was a pandemic and there were things going on. So in April, we did see 167. You say, well, oh, maybe in April, we did see a peak then. Well, let's give a little bit more context, right? Why don't we dive deeper into the history and see if the peaks before COVID were actually in April as opposed to October? Because if the numbers hold true, maybe there was a seismic event that happened, right? That took the inventory peak instead of April into October. Interesting. All right, so let's take a look. So this is 2020, April. It peaked at 167 here in the Aurora area with a niche down market of 334 or less. Let's take a look at another peak. We're doing a study in peaks right now. August, okay? The next peak, around September, October, okay? So now we're starting to see a trend here again. This one happened in June, it's in summertime. All right, July, August, okay? So we do see still a peak occurring late summer to early autumn is when we see the peak. That's the most amount of homes. So I bring that up, so that we can see when we should anticipate, or what should we anticipate the next couple of months, or what should we anticipate moving forward. Just taking in context, what happened during the pandemic, we did see in September that peak was going on, but September 2019 all the way to, let's see, September, I'm looking for September here, of 2020, a year later, we did see a huge decline in inventory, and ever since then, we've just been going down. So even the peak, look, of 2021 was 108, 80-ish, okay? 44-ish, you could say, all right? 40-ish, and then 39. So we are seeing a steady decline. So if the numbers hold true and the numbers hold steady, yes, we might see a peak in August, September, October, but it might just be at 30 properties or 35 properties if the trends continue, if the trends hold true. And is there any indication here that tells me that the inventory is going to go up, right? Is there any promising news? Can we compare, let's see, January 2025 to January 2024? And the answer is, well, yes. I mean, 28 and 29, right? So the indications that I've seen here based on the statistics is that we're just holding steady with last year's numbers. So if that's the case, then the peak hitting October might be that we might see 40 to 47 homes peaking in October, November, or maybe even September of this year, okay? So yes, we do have a ways to go up, which is great. We will see a little bit of a spike in inventory, which is great. But right now, yes, the inventory levels for this kind of niche home is at historic low levels, okay? And I mean, if you want to look into the last, let's say, maximum amount of years, I mean, it's going to crunch a lot of numbers right here. And we have statistics going all the way back to 2008, which is about, what is it now? Doing the mental math here, 17 years in the past. So if you can tell here, we are still, at least by record keeping, at historic low levels when it comes to this kind of inventory. Okay, so that's where we are at the moment, and it doesn't look like it's going up. And that, if anything, it looks like it's still going down. However, let me just give you a little bit of optimism, okay, moving forward, and that's this. If it is going from the pandemic down, well, what goes down must go up, right? I mean, unless we go to zero. But the only thing of optimism I would say here, as far as inventory goes, is that it's not going down. At least the trend is that we're not going lower than last year. We're staying equal, right, to last year. And that's why hopefully now it stops and it starts to go up next year and then the following year after that, okay? So hopefully things start to turn around. But as far as month supply goes in inventory here, let me just, bring those numbers up here. This right here, this level should be the balanced market of 6 months. Well, it hasn't been a seller's market ever, or a balanced market, I should say, rather, since 2012. 2012, that was about 13, what is it? About 12, 13 years ago, okay, as of this recording. That's how long ago we've been in a seller's market here in Aurora when it comes to this kind of home, okay? So that's just the way it is. That's the way inventory is in this area, and we're going to continue to see that, okay? All right, so now the next question is, what about home prices? Are they going up? Are they going down? Let's find out, all right? We're going to look at the last 3 years, raw data of this niche home, which you could see right here if you wanted to see it, of traditional resale single family, 334K or less detached single family, okay? What is it that we are looking at, all right? Are home prices going up or down? First of all, let's look at the median numbers. Why the median? Because when you look at the median numbers, you take a list and then you just take the middle, consistent, reliable, safe number, okay? And you take the average of that, right? So consistently in this price range, homes have been selling for around $275,000. Compare that to a year ago, prices have gone up 13%. So the answer to the question is, have prices gone up? Yes, they have, by 13%. Yes, they have, by 13%, okay? That's the numbers that we have there for sure, okay? Now, let me give you a smooth number here. Let's roll it into the previous 12 months and see how the statistics look like. Here we go. In the last 3 years, the median sales price for this particular niche of home are that prices have been going up steadily, right? As inventory goes down, prices are going up. Supply and demand situation here. And so as far as, let me just look at the last 10 years and give you a trend. We're seeing high numbers and they keep going up and up and up. Those people, right? Those of you who are waiting for a crash in the market, in the real estate market, prices to go down, we are not seeing that. People can be waiting here and waiting here and waiting here and waiting here. They just keep waiting, but while they're waiting, inventory is still going on the decline and prices are going on the incline. And so they're missing the bus, you could say, when it comes to prices. And what causes a crash? A crash would be when there is enough homes, a lot of homes, and the demand just drops significantly. That's not what we've seen. We've seen buyer demand stay up and inventory stay low, right? And unless there's an influx of homes hitting the market and buyer demand just dropping significantly, we're not going to see a crash. So it is a safe bet to get into the real estate and invest in it and purchase a home, because that crash is not coming. And if you want to keep saying, well, the crash is coming, I can feel it. I'm watching the, whatever algorithm you're watching in the social media platforms, and they're saying a crash is coming. Fine, get out of the lane and let others pass through, because they are the ones that are going to profit in this situation and not you, okay? So until you learn to see the numbers, to see the statistics, and listen to your realtor, you're going to be here stuck on the sidelines of, wow, other people make money. All right, that's prices. Prices gone up the last 13% in the last 12 months, okay? Finally, buyer demand. What's going on here with buyer demand? Because again, this is what market looks like, okay? And the metric I use is fed by Showing Time. Showing Time is an application or service, a software service that we use to schedule showings for these homes. Well, according to let me put in the rolling 12 months here, statistics, according to this, has buyer demand gone up or gone down? The answer in this particular market, okay, not the entire inventory of all the homes available, no matter what the price range is that, hey, in the last 12 months, okay, it's gone down 8%. So a year ago, right? A year ago, let's pull up the April numbers. We had about 16.3 showings per listing, 16 showings per listing. Well, this year, only 15. Doesn't seem like a huge drop off. It's about 1 or 2 less people, all right? But it's gone down a little bit. That's fine. And you know what? I mean, even if interest rates go up and it does dwindle down the buyer pool, again, that's fine, because there's still plenty of folks looking around. I don't see this still turning into a buyer's market anytime soon because of the inventory levels the way they are, okay? So are the supply, let me just say it like this, are home buyers on their way down? The answer is, I mean, look, it looks like it's dropped, right, in the last 12 months, 8%, okay? The last time we saw numbers this low, quote unquote, was back in August of 2023. Nothing significant was happening in August of 2023. So, we just didn't see that jump, okay? At least we don't understand why there was that number, except it was just an average market. What I see here in April, let's just look in the years past, right? Let's kind of study this together. Let me just look at the context of the Aprils. So this April 2025, this is now going to be April of 2024, 16. What's the other April look like? Okay, look at this. Wow, very low numbers, okay? So in April, just 2 years ago, we had 13 shows per listing. Again, these are not crazy numbers. I was like, wow, mind-blowing numbers. Like, oh no, something crazy, something seismic is happening. Not the case at all. It's just give or take 1 or 2 shows per listing. We still have a lot of shows, a lot of showings, and we have been hearing reports left and right, multiple bid situations. So this is not numbers that are gonna just break the whole internet, you know what I mean? And be mind-blowing, oh, something crazy is happening. Not at all, okay? That's just the way things are here in real estate. And I just give you a context here of the last 5 years, which really does, help us understand how the real estate market is doing. As far as the last 5 years, look, we are still at high numbers, because even during the time of the pandemic, which we only had 6 shows per listing back in May, right, or 5 years ago, that number has spiked a lot since then. You can see that, right? And even going past the pandemic, more in the past, you can still see that even prior to the pandemic hitting, we were just averaging about 7, 8, shows per listing, even before the pandemic. Once the pandemic hit, May 2020 to July, that same year, when interest rates were just low points, it spiked everything up. And now, even since the pandemic, when interest rates were at, you could say, when interest rates were at 2.5, 2.8, 2.9, like historic low levels, it flooded the market into the real estate market, right, where all the homes were. And what happened? Did the numbers eventually go back down? And I'm asking this question again. Did the numbers go back down? The answer is no, they haven't. And that's the big thing, right? And so unfortunately, I lost that information. All right, so we're just gonna have to reset it there. But that was just a big thing there, was this, okay? Don't pay attention anymore to that screen. What I wanna do here is, there it is, on a beauty mirror, right? Is this. When the COVID virus hit, right, and the pandemic and the shutdown was happening, and the interest rates dropped to historic levels, all right, what happened in the market was that it flooded with buyers, right? And so what we saw here in the previous graph is that those buyers, they went up, but they never really went down again, right? So we're still in the market seeing the huge rush of buyers. They all made it into the market and they're not going anywhere. They're staying there, right? So even though we saw the last 3 years that it dipped a little bit, okay, no big deal. It's just 1 or 2 folks that are not doing it compared to a year ago, but we still have low interest rate level buyer interest here in the market now. So buyer demand is high, and even in this area, high, okay? And so, hey, how's buyer demand? It's high, right? How is inventory? Low. Prices, 14% higher than last year, right? So the market's still gonna continue to be the same way. It's still hot, all right? And it's gonna only getting warmer out here. So yes, if you want more detailed information about your area, I want me to make a video about your particular area, reach out to me here, drop a comment, and I would love to see that and do a report here in the Illinois area. Obviously, if you're out of state, I could connect you with an agent out in your area. But if not, hey, if you're in the area, you want to know some information, let's talk about it, okay? But anyway, this is just me, Luis Torres, a real estate broker here in the Chicagoland area, just giving you some information, some statistics regarding the real estate market here in the area. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram as well, at Luis the Broker. I put up constant content over there, and hope to see you there, okay? Take care.